Heaven's Journey to Life. The Prophets of Damnation, Day 47. From this post, we're continuing with the simultaneous physical inception and mind conception process, in and as the mother's womb, as the process of how the fruit of life and children of the future became rotten from and of the tree of life and humanity, where we previously walked to the point of the moment of birth, where we in quantum time energy as the mind, through and as the birthing process, reach the positive energy experience the moment we're born, but then again immediately lessen to the negative energy experience that manifests the crying and wailing and physical contortion and pain and discomfort as the process of the mind's quantum integration into the physical body during the birthing process as the physical body moved forward with the mind moving inward in the process of consuming physicality to transform into energy, with the mind integrating and permeating the depths and manifestations of the physical body substance and structure. Specifically, we're now going to be walking how exactly we in and as and with the mind and the physical manifest from fear experience and negative energy experience, the love experience and positive energy experience, and the interconnected relationship within this as fear of loss and love of gain, both existing within the starting point of possession and survival, where fear and negative energy experience initiate possession and survival, and love and positive energy experience secures possession and survival. However, before we can start with that process, we first have to understand how the nature of the relationship between fear and love as give and take within the polarity of the negative and the positive already is physically programmed in the womb of the female within and during the child's physical inception process and mind conception process. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to, from my inception and conception process as the physical and the mind within and as the mother's womb, manifest my relationship as the mind to the physical within, the starting point relationship of fear and fear of loss as consciousness that will automatically control my choices through and as the nature and action of me as deliberate blame, within and as spite, excuse, and justification, within the standing of cause and acceptance and effect and allowance, as consequence and consequence outflow, where, as consciousness of fear and fear of loss as the negative energy experience will initiate and instigate my physical movement forward and my mind integration and permeation inward to consume physicality to transform into energy. And the moment I am birthed out of the mother's womb, the positive energy experience will lessen, and then in quantum time, move into and as the negative energy experience that manifests as crying and contortion through and as the mind and the physical as the nature and action of me as blame, within and as spite, excuse, justification, where I initiate and instigate the process of manipulating my world and reality to get and have energy for my possession and survival, all of which manifest within and as the primary relationship of me as the mind to the physical, within cause and acceptance of me as the cause of separation as the mind from the physical, and the effect and allowance that manifest as the experiences of and as the negative to the neutral and to the positive as the constant and continuous interrelationship between the energies ensures and secures possession of me as energy and the survival of me as energy and mind authority. With the existence of me as consciousness, fear, and fear of loss within the relationship of cause and acceptance and effect and allowance, through and as my nature and action of blame as spite, excuse, and justification, damned me to such an existence throughout my life as the mind and the physical, without responsibility, directive principle, will, and choice, only existing as control, defense and protection, motivation as fear, with all choice only existing for survival as mind and energy authority. I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to see, realize, and understand the nature of the relationship between the female's mind and physical body and the child's mind and physical body that is physically pre-programmed from within and as the female's womb, where the child consumed from and of the male and female's mind and physical body in and during its inception and conception process to manifest its mind consciousness system and physical body as follows. The child's physical body inception consumes from and of the female's physical body, with the female's physical body manifested directly in and with the male and female's subconscious and unconscious mind. And so, as the child emerge within and as their physical inception process, consuming from and of the female's physical body, and so the male and female's subconscious and unconscious mind that is manifested in and as the physical body. There, at the same time, consuming and manifesting the contents and substance of and as the male and female's subconscious and unconscious mind that will eventually become the child's subconscious and unconscious mind framework that they will use to manifest their personalities, behaviors, and physical patterns and habits. Then, at the same time, with the child's subconscious and unconscious mind manifesting in the image and likeness of the father and the mother, as what happens during sex between male and female relationships is both of the male and female's mind merging into each other. So the child essentially thus download and consume and upload and integrate the subconscious and unconscious mind of both the mother and the father. The child's own subconscious and unconscious mind integrate and manifest into and as and with their own physical body, as the child downloads the subconscious and unconscious of the mother and the father and uploads the subconscious and unconscious into and as their own physical bodies. I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to see, realize, and understand the nature of sex as the physical mind process within and as which the mind consciousness system ensures and secures its survival within and as evolution, where within and during sex, the minds of the female and the male transfer and download into and as each other and upload into themselves, where the minds thus utilize the new downloaded mind framework to cross-reference its own conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind systems and do necessary upgrades and alterations and changes from and of the newly downloaded mind framework of the partner that was consumed into and as itself. Note, this process of the mind's evolution through sex has been walked in absolute detail within the What is Sex series available on EQOF and will thus not walk the detail here at this stage. Self can take the responsibility of walking through the interviews and assist and support self through the process of self-forgiveness and how we've accepted and allowed ourselves to transform sex into an as-mind evolution within ourselves and towards our children, where children develop as evolved minds with the merging from the female and male's minds. This line of self-forgiveness will be walking within this process, how the mind evolve in the child. However, the personal self process in relation to sex can be walked for self, with self from the What is Sex interview series. I forgive myself that I, as a parent, had not seen, realized, and understood the full extent of my mind's relationship to the physical in the integration, permeation, and manifestation of my mind into and as and with my physical body throughout my life, where, for example, every thought I've had throughout my life resonated within and through my entire physical substance, with my physical body substance predominantly consisting of and existing as water. The thoughts resonate and reverberate throughout the substance and water, with thought patterns and internal conversations resonating and reverberating the same sequence within and throughout my physical body and substance, programming the resonance and reverberation of thoughts and conversations into and as the substance and water of and as my physical body that would eventually crystallize within and as the physical flesh, where eventually my very physical flesh and tissue and fabric will align its structure and formation according to how I programmed it through and as and with my thoughts, and all the information of my thoughts, thus manifest into and as and with my very physical flesh and tissue and fabric, consisting of and existing as the nutrients and chemicals and sustenance that the child will eventually consume in its process of physical inception. And so within and during the physical inception process, download into and as its own physical body, everything of my mind, and so my partner's mind, that merged with mine through and as sex. Note, we're going to be walking the detail of how the unconscious, subconscious, and conscious mind integrate and permeate, merge, and manifest into and as the physical body as we walk this timeline of a child's development. We're for a moment only briefly touching on the extent of integration, merging, and manifestation of the mind in the physical, as per the example above, to understand how the child downloaded the parent's minds into and as itself within the inception and conception process. When we get to the timeline of the child walking into relationship, sex, and inception and conception of their own children's mind and physical, it will be more clear of how and why exactly this transfer manifests, and within this, how the fruit of life and children of the tree of life and humanity has borne rotten fruit, instead of fruit of life. As with all things, we have to start at the beginning, our beginning as we birth into this existence as the mind in the physical. I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to see, realize, and understand what in fact happened and manifest on the unconscious and subconscious mind level, within and as the physical process of the birth of the child, within and as the female's womb, and within and as the physical process of sex in the mind's relationship to the physical. As I have accepted and allowed myself to abdicate my responsibility, directive principle, will, and choice of and as equality and oneness of me and my physical body, to and as consciousness that has automated my entire existence within and as the unconscious, subconscious, and conscious mind, with me now only existing in and as preoccupation in and as the conscious mind, flying high above, yet within the mind and the physical body, experiencing only energy that consciousness through and with the mind consciousness system is producing and manifesting for its own survival. And so within this, why and how I have had no awareness of the mind's relationship to the physical due to and because of the extent of separation from my own mind and the physical body that has become the control of and as consciousness. In the next post, we'll continue with how the female within their physical and mind move within the energies of the positive to the neutral and negative as the child take and consume energy and mind and physicality from the female to move from the negative to the neutral and to the positive, and how this process of give and take from parent to child manifest in and as physical actions, as a relationship between fear of loss and love of gain manifest in both the parent and child, and thus within this, the true and real nature of love in this existence of minds as the survival of the mind and the physical for energy, possession, and empowerment. I commit myself to show how and why children has become the consequence and consequence outflow of our accepted and allowed existence as the mind and consciousness as energy authority, where the mind had taken possession of ourselves as parents, and so also our children of and as ourselves, where sex and birth had become physical actions and processes that the mind has possessed to ensure and secure its own survival through and as the evolution of itself. Within this, I commit myself to show how and why the world of humanity, our very natures throughout the generations had developed for the evolution of the mind as parents with merged minds transferred their minds into the children, with the children then evolving their own minds from the parents' transferred minds within them. And so the mind evolved through the children, while the very physical nature of ourselves as beings devolved, which is why this physical existence is devolving as the world system of money and technology and AI is evolving. I commit myself to show how and why children had become transfers, continuations, copies from and of the past, as the parents' minds of past transfer into and as the child's mind, and so the child's living framework and reference as their mind would come from, of and as the parents' minds as past manifest. And so, how and why children could not become the future of the world for all of humanity in and as equality and oneness, as we've been passing on to them the past and sins of the fathers from the generations that had gone before them. And so why and how, through our very natures and living as human beings as the mind as the past manifest, had throughout human civilization only time looped within and as the past, creating and manifesting the same past over and over and over again without change. Because we haven't seen, realized, or understood the extent to which we've manifested ourselves and this existence as a whole, through and as the mind within and as consequence and consequence outflow. I commit myself to show the consequence and consequence outflow for each individually and altogether responsible for, within ourselves and this existence as ourselves in our accepted and allowed abdication of responsibility, directive principle, will, and choice, to consciousness as energy and mind authority that had possessed sex and birth, that was supposed to be the physical process of birthing life from the physical, but possessed it to be and become a process of survival and evolution of the mind within and as fear, that has manifested this physical existence of and as fear for survival, and the evolution of systems for possession, with the consequence and consequence outflow manifesting in the devolution of the physical body to eventual death, and the devolution of this physical existence that will reach eventually death if we continue existing as we are now, with giving energy and consciousness and mind authority over and of life. I commit myself to, through writing, self-forgiveness, and self-corrective application, assist and support me out of my mind into and as physical equality and oneness, to be and become a living example for my child and children to come as what it means to, in fact, live as the future of this world in and as equality and oneness. In this, I commit myself to rebirth myself in this life as life from the physical in my process of returning energy to its source as substance of and as the physical body, as I walk from knowledge and information definitions of energy experiences as the mind into and as physical equality and oneness as the living word. In this, also preparing for when, if, and as I do have a child in the future, to prepare me as effectively as possible to not pass on to them the sins of the fathers of the past, but the future of this world of and as life. Note, we will in posts to come more clearly outline this process of parent-child relationship within the principle of life of and as equality and oneness, and how to, if one is already a parent with children, to first assist and support self in one's process as a living example, and how to assist and support one's child or children equal to and one with how self is and has been assisting and supporting self within one's own process in the mind's relationship to the physical.